Lon with Walking and Rolling Costumes, and today we're going to talk about how we built the Bumblebee Transformer costume that you see here. We're going to show how it goes together, all the little details about it, everything from 3D printed parts, 3D printed helmet, logos, different things that go into this, and it starts right now. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about on the Bumblebee costume is a unique method that we came up with for attaching it to the wheelchair. Now you can see some zip ties, some pink zip ties attaching it to these gray pieces down there. And I'm going to show you what those are. Now, what these pieces are is a 3D printed unique piece that was created by one of our expert builders. His name's Chris Rude, and he came up with these unique items. It's a flexible material, so as you can see, it bends, it kind of squishes together, but it's all 3D printed. Now, what we do is we put this section here, goes around the pipe of the wheelchair. Attach that in. There's these little trenches along the side that come out on the other side, and you run zip ties through those, much like you see here. You can run zip ties both in the front and the back. And so you use the zip ties, you put 3 of them in there, and they wrap around the wheelchair, locking that in place. Then you have this front part, which you can also put zip ties through it as well, come out this side. And this is where the costume actually slides down in here, 3/4 inch PVC, and sits on this little shelf. And then the zip ties go around and lock it into place so it can't come out. And what's cool about these is that we can attach these to just about any place on the wheelchair to give us connection points for our costumes. So these are the first things that go on the wheelchair before the costume attaches. That way the costume sets down on these little ledges that we've created. There's a good example of how it's attached to the frame of the wheelchair. The green part is the wheelchair, and then the yellow pipe comes down, sits on a little ledge at the bottom, and the zip ties lock it all into place. We didn't cut the zip ties to, the way we would on the finished costume, since we're just getting ready to ship this to a child. But we just wanted to show how these attach to the front, right to the side of the foot plate. We have one on each side, and they can pivot around left and right a little bit, so there's a little bit of give to where, in case his chair is a little different width than what this chair is, it will still work for his chair as well. Here is the Bumblebee costume without any of the shell for decoration. This is just the frame, and you can see how it's all built, so you kind of get the idea of what the Camaro looks like. But for helping put it together from when you receive it in the mail, we've created all these little joints like this. It'll come apart at all these little screw-on joints. And so when you get it, everything will be glued except for these joints, and so you have to put them together. And they've all been labeled so you know where they all go. But just for easy reference, if you start in the front, this is C1. C stands for the center. So all of the center joints are going to be labeled C. So there's C2, C3, and 4 towards the back. And then you have P1 and P2 for passenger side of the car, and D1 and D2 for driver's side of the car. That way you can easily tell, if we put left and right, it'd be hard to tell if you're sitting in the costume, if that's your left or right, or if you're looking at the costume left or right. So that's why we use driver's and passenger side. So we have in the front, under the hood, is the 1s and 2s for all 3, P, C, and D. Then in the middle, we have D3 and 4, and P3 and 4 on the other side. Then in the back, we have D5 and D6, and P5 and P6 on the other side. And then in the center, right behind the chair, we have C3 and C4. And then right in the center, in the back, we have C5 and C6. So that'll showcase how all these joints go together. Hopefully it'll make a lot more sense when you get it out of the box and you can help put it together. This will give you some reference on where everything goes. while those PVC 3D printed joints attach at the front of the chair, the way that it attaches in the back, we're just gonna peel this off because it's just Velcroed on. There we go. This frame down here sits on the little handle on the back of the wheelchair. So the weight of the costume actually rests down on that. And then we would attach some zip ties or bungee cord type attachments to lock it into place. But that way the weight of the back of the costume rests on that back bar and makes it very easy to support the weight of the entire costume just on those 2 points in the front and this bar in the back. Everything else is suspended in air based on those points. And then we just Velcro this back up to cover it for the back of it. Now all the panels that you see, those are all just screwed on, literally with screws. There they are. So we did that throughout the costume, and they're just screwed into certain points along the entire costume. Some of the screws we then cover up with little bits of Velcro. There you go. So there's some screws back there that are then covered. Even the back wheels cover up some of the screws back there. And then you have pieces like the fin in the back is actually just a single PVC pipe. You can see it like that. Single PVC pipe that attaches to in these little clips on the back. So you just kind of center it. Let's try that again. Kind of center it right there, snap them into place, and they stay. And this back piece back here has a similar type of pole behind it to make it have that nice little curve going around the back. We also have some tailpipes that are attached. Oh, there they are. Same little clips underneath. Showcase, show how the tailpipes just snap in place. And we also have things like the tail are just tap lights that turn on red. Now, these particular tap lights, if you tap them again, you get some different colors. So you just want to be sure and cycle through until you get to red. But those are on both sides. So you would turn those on. Then there's also headlights in the front. And these are actually magnetic lights. There's a little metal plate back there. And these lights are really kind of cool. You can charge them. It's like a phone charger, little USB. And then you can turn them on just with a switch. There you go. And then they just magnetize, snap. So you do that to both of them, and you've got headlights for Bumblebee. And there you go. And it's very easy. Whoops, switches on the other side. Just to switch it back off. There. To save batteries. Another thing worth mentioning, the wheels that you see throughout are literally just foam wheels that are Velcroed onto the car. So you just line up the Velcro, stick them on, and you've got your wheels. The entire costume does fit through a doorway. That's very important for us at Walking Rolling Costumes. So the entire wheelchair costume is under 32 inches wide. However, the mirrors do stick out a little bit. So we designed them to come off. So the mirrors are 3D printed with little vinyl stickers on them. And they're just connected by a T-joint up there. So they can easily pop off if you need to go through doors. And then you just put them back on, just snap them back on. It's a little hard to do with one hand while I'm filming, but you get the point. It just snaps on place, and then you're good to go again.